Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the broadcast of the 2025 Schenectady Open Bonspiel. We're back here on sheet number 4. We've got sheets 1 through 4 running with their own individual live streams, but we're here commentating on sheet number 4. Here we've got team from Plainfield in the yellow versus team from Albany in the red. This is the C bracket. So first stone there, corner guard played into the 2 zone. Like I said, Plainfield with the yellow stones, Albany with the red stones. We will have updates of all 4 sheets going on this one. Sheet 3 was delayed due to bad ice this morning, so they are still in progress from their previous draw. And that is in the 8th end with the score 6-3. Just a couple guards here so far, and that second shot that was played hit that first guard, so did not make it into the house. Let's see where we're going here.
You guys are the out-of-town team. I'll get right.
That one will just draw around. Is it going to bury? That is quite buried. That is quite a good shot. That's into the 8-foot circle. Once again, my name is Hugh Walton. Joining me from the Long Island Curling Club is Zach Bostrom. I am a member here at Schenectady. We're very happy to bring you this broadcast of the Schenectady Open Bonspiel. Hard sweeping from the inside. Worried about crashing. Yeah, this one is curling quite a bit so far. Brand new pebble again. Did not run rocks after the pebble. Looks like we've got a final in sheet number 3. They have called it. And that is a win for the team with the Yellowstones. Hawaiian hit and roll out of Schenectady. So they will quickly perform the ice maintenance on that sheet and then get going with the C bracket matchup that is supposed to be taking place on that sheet. Good successful takeout there. Both teams kind of feeling it out so far. Hard sweeping it again from the inside. Yeah, these teams, this is their first time out on the ice here on Saturday, so trying to figure out what the conditions are like. And at least the Albany team is coming across narrow a lot of curl. But it is early on in this first end, so perfectly reasonable for the teams to just be figuring it out. Trying to push the rock inside. It will curl over the center line, but successfully guard that yellow rock in the house. Trying to push, get the curl. And this one is just going to roll harmlessly through the house. Might stick around the back. No. And this one, less pace than the last rock that was thrown. That will land nicely just on the back of the button. The pin is open. Because the pin is open, that will allow for the call to be made of a draw freezing on and having the red stones for Albany out count. Might be a little bit of a bump involved here because Albany does have the hammer. So they want to have more room to put more than just the one on there. This one needs to curl just a little more. It seems like it is. I think that's just not going to be quite the weight they wanted. At least it gets it out in the middle of the forefoot. But I think they might have wanted at least a little more weight. But too much weight, and then your backing is gone, and then it'll be a very easy prospect to just chunk it out. They're going to try and hit that glancing blow to chunk that red stone out of the button. Let's see. This one a little narrow. Yeah, it's still coming outside, but they are going to start sweeping it now. I think that is just about perfect. No, it curled a lot at the end, didn't it? That finished very hard. If they had stayed on it, maybe that would have saved it. But now I think it's a relatively simple call for another takeout here. Just try and clear that out. Red is sitting 2 with that stone in the back right of the forefoot. That front yellow is not in the forefoot at all. Takeout now. Pretty well on line, although starting to curl quite a bit. We saw that one on the last rock thrown curl quite a lot on the takeout. That will just nick that. Whoa. Wow. Just barely nicked the front guard and ended up being in a perfect position to take it out. And they're just going to continue to play the takeout game, it seems. Sweeping, trying to prevent the curl. That will hit that rock out. Now we're just sitting 1 red. As a reminder, Albany with the red stones, Plainfield with the yellow stones in this match. In Albany with the hammer. So sitting 1, I think the move for them is to place this towards the top of the forefoot. And you sit 2, and you're guarding the button. This one doesn't feel like it has the weight. Yeah, they're going to start sweeping it hard now. I don't think this has enough. I think this is just going to end up guarding.
Yeah, it might sneak into the house, but it will not be able to outcount that yellow. And so
now what is the move for Plainfield?
Yeah, it was a good line there. Just not enough weight. Especially early in the match, trying to figure out the exact ice conditions. Been much to ask for in a first end, I think.
Yeah. In the C event, both of these teams trying to pick up a win here. We previously covered an A where the teams were undefeated at that point. This one will come up to the front. Never mind. That's a discussion as to what the best course of action is. This is the hammer. Right now, red's sitting 1. The most obvious shot that I see is trying to the hit back of that red stone on the left. I don't see really anything else. You just want to hope you hit it a little bit to the outside, have it roll into the 4-foot.
Yeah, options are limited here, it looks like. A lot of guards in place, tugging up the middle there, so I think you need to kind of just say a prayer and hope you can roll that one in.
Yep. It appears to be the ice. They are sweeping this one hard from the beginning pretty much. I don't think this has the weight it needs. Skip's calling him off. That will not do it. So red will score 1 here in the first end. Score 1-0 after 1 in favor of Team Howells of Albany. That's the wrong one.
It's okay. All right. Then we're good. Then we're good. All right. Appreciate it.
So getting into the second end here, the shot to be called is a simple center guard. Pretty standard stuff so far. Starting to sweep hard now. I think it will be able to curl onto the center line if it gets a little more. I think it's just off the center line, but I'm not the referee, so I'm not the one that has to decide whether it is. They're sweeping this one pretty hard from the start as well. Trying to get around. I don't think it has the weight to get into the house. We'll just come to rest on the other side of that red stone.
Like a dragon, I can sleep with it under my bed.
They come around the inside, avoiding that guard just placed. This one seems to have plenty on it, but we've seen early on in the matches that they tend to dig and cut. And this one will squirt past the tee line and just maybe stick around. No, they pulled it out. That one just slipped past the back line and is out of play. So now for Plainfield, the call is to draw around those guards. All 4 sheets right now have C bracket games. If you go to the Schenectady Curling Club website, then you can find a link to the scores of the other sheets if you don't want to wait for our updates. You can also figure out which teams are playing on those sheets. So if you are an out-of-towner, want to see someone play, and you know they're playing right now, you can find that information through the link on our website. But right here on sheet 4, we've got Team Howells out of Albany, and we got the team for Plainfield. This rock is rather light. They're both sweeping it very hard. That will come in around 2-3 range. Guard that draw going forward. Both sweepers on it immediately. Trying to draw around that side where they have their own guard. It might just clip the guard. No, I think they successfully swept it around. Great sweeping, and now the finish. That is a beautiful shot. Very well played. Completely buried from the hack. Even has a little bit of backing for that rock in the top of the house. Very, very good draw there. Now this one's pretty much on the center line. Sweeping to prevent curl as it curls in towards the center. You're just trying to clear guards. No, they're not clearing guards. They're clearing that rock in the house. And they are not able to get anything out of the house, but they at least picked that one stone off of the center line in the house, and then is now on the outside corner in the 12-foot circle. So now for Plainfield, just draw around again, get more rocks in that area. This one needs to curl on the finish. Otherwise, it's just going to be left out there. It's getting a decent amount of curl, but it's also not getting the run out that it needs to count. It's a good guard, though. Now for Albany, the call is to try and freeze onto that yellow stone. Try and push it, otherwise it's going to crash into that red guard. It will just crash into that red guard. They're going to try and split to leave it open, and they do. So they have room to do stuff with the center of the house as this end comes towards the end. See, funny little joke I did there. It's funny because in curling, it's called an end. I believe the call now was to just replace a guard up top. This one's got plenty of pace. Starting to dig, though. Like I was saying, in these early ends, it really digs and cuts. And that one will make it over the hog line and come to rest after bumping that top guard. That's
It's a good guard.
it's doing something. I mean, with how much the ice has been cutting, at least early on in this match, I think you can take a wide angle as he's calling here and pretty easily make it around. But that, I think, prevents him from calling the freeze onto the yellow like he wanted. This one will just have to kind of sit up on its own. If it even gets there, I think this might be another guard. I think it might hit that guard, actually, with how much it's coming in. Yes, just kissed it. All right, this is just gonna slip past the tee line. I don't think it's gonna be swept past the 8 foot, but that is reasonably protected by the guards. But correctly, the play is to try and freeze onto this rock. And if you freeze onto the rock, you are still letting yellow have shot rock, but I think that is more important, trying to prevent them from getting 2 and nullifying that one rock that they have, making it completely useless. Because right now, as it stands, Plainfield's sitting 3, as they've got that one in the outside corner. That's out counting the one on the inside corner for red. This one has to freeze onto the yellow in the back to turn 3 into 1. I think it's got a good angle. It's got to finish. It's got to finish, though. They're sweeping it hard, but I think that's going to prevent the finish. But they got to get it there. So the sweeping is the right call. I think, unfortunately, that one's just been left a little too open. No, I think it's protected from the hack by the outside red guard, but all they need to do is just hit a glancing blow, and then they sit 4. Well, probably not 4, probably still 3, but 3 in a bad way for red. They've got to hit this one right. It's going to hit off of that red in the corner, and now do what? Roll? Just going to roll through. Unfortunately, a missed opportunity there for Plainfield. And now that gives Howells another shot at it to try and do something. The shot becomes different because he left the one on the tee line. Does it become simply a draw in? Because who's shot in this scenario? I think it's really close. Because if red is shot, you just guard. You just guard that line and prevent them from doing anything with it. But if red is not shot, then you probably have to try and draw in like almost full 4. It's a tough scenario. They are on this rock hard. They are worried about the weight. They've gotten off it, so weight seems to no longer be of concern. The real concern is how wide this rock is. They're trying really hard to finish it, but it's not really going to do anything. It could hit the red. I think that might just be the tick that gives red a shot rock. However, all that really needs to be done is just hit the rock that was just thrown, and then red shot rock will fly out, and then yellow will score. So we'll see if we can hit it. It is right on target. One is he going to score? That's a that 3? That's 4. That is 4. That is a great shot. Scoring 4 for Plainfield. Very well executed on that last shot there. That's another yellow. The complexion of this one has changed a lot very quickly, going from 1-0 to 4-1. Who's on sheet 3? That's 2. Oh, corner guard. Right in the 1 range for that first rock. We'll get some out-of-town scores now. By out-of-town, I mean across the room. Over on sheet 1 with the yellow stones is Hula House Curlers from Rutland. And in the red is My Takeouts, pun with Mai Tais, out of Schenectady. And the score right now is 1-0 in favor of the Rutland team. Sheet 2, Cats and Kittens from Columbus are in the yellow versus Hot Lava Rocks from Border. And that score is 1-0 in favor of Border. And then on sheet 3, we've got Equinox and Bucks County. That's the Murderous Mountains team from Bucks County. And Bucks County in the red, Equinox in the yellow, 4-0 in favor of Equinox. All of these games are in the second end except for ours, which is in the third end. Takeout's the call here, as that rock is left right in the house. Wide open, trying to push. That is not going to do it. And now, I'll probably try and guard this rock. At least have your 1 and protect it. Yeah, this one might come up short. Yeah, that one's going to come into the house. It might freeze right down onto it, actually. Yeah. Pretty vertical. Little bit of a bump, but I think that's a very good shot. There's not a whole lot of separation between those 2 rocks, which means that a takeout would be kind of difficult. We'll see. We shall see what we get. Incredible curling Hawaiian shirt on display here. Very impressive. And this takeout attempt is wide. It might come back. It might come back enough to get the back one. just barely missing. Really close. You needed to glance it with how much backing there was, and it was just barely offline. So now with your 2 rocks in the 4-foot, what's the plan? More rocks? You're down by 3 here. It's only the third end. I think you have to try and put the pressure on. Just put more on that vertical line, which is exactly what they've done here. Right in the middle of the 12 and the 8 on the center line. If you nose this, or if you get reasonably close to nose, you might get that glancing blow. And we'll see if he can hit this takeout. Has to curl again, but it is curling. It is finishing. I think it has a chance. Just used the backing, but at least it got rid of the one in the back. And the rock that was hit, still in the house, and the shooter, still in the house. So we've got some interestingness going on. This one, they're just going to try and guard that rock again, right? No. He was thinking about guarding, but he's just going to try and go for the takeout? No. Flipped back to the original decision of trying to put another one in the house on top of that one on the 4-foot. This one feels light out of the hand, but yeah, trying to push the rock back in. This is very wide. Now they're trying to get the finish. Tracking on a pretty good line. That is finishing quite a bit. That almost made it back to that line. It's on the center line. That's not terrible, but another nose, just outside of nose takeout should grab both of them, and that's the call he's making. This one, I think this is going to fall out on him. It might still grab the back, just barely. Yes. But not enough to bring it out of the house. That is shot rock. Red still sitting 2. So now the takeout here. Control, maybe control up. Weight's looking pretty good, although the line. Inside sweeping. Hit and roll. Good looking roll there. Very good looking roll. Almost perfectly guarded there. That is a very good shot. As you can't really double those 2 in front. You can try. I mean, they're going to. At the very least, you'll get the one in the 4-foot. But right now, Red's sitting 4. You have to do something here. And this one, I think this one is wide. It's got to curl a lot. It's going to curl a whole lot. I think it's going to slide right through. Might just nick the back. No. That split the wickets right through. And now, for Albany, they're just going to try and guard that center line more. You might even put this one on top of the 12-foot, get a 5th rock in there. But short is fine. And try and push. I don't think it needs to be pushed, no. It's got plenty of curl on its own with how this sheet's been going. Honestly, Sweep on the inside. That's finishing really hard. That's going to come all the way across the center line. But having them staggered like that, I think, is a good thing, because that means that any potential triple gets even weirder. And they're just going to try and pull that rock in the back out. No. That was a... So that does pull that rock out of the back, and the shooter stuck around. So now Albany going from sitting 4 to only sitting 2 very quickly. Albany now in their skip rocks. All matches except for Sheet 3 are in the third end. Sheet 3 was slightly delayed because the previous draw, that match was significantly delayed due to ice conditions, but we should be on schedule moving forward, I would hope. Or at the very least, only 15 minutes or so behind schedule on Sheet 3. And here is the shot. Looks like either a guard or a draw. It's a little wider than other shots, so it might slow up, and trying to push it. This one will slow up, not make it into the house. But I think that's in quite a good position. Is that makes it very difficult for Plainfield to try and run back their yellow. And this is their final rock. So what are they going to do with it? That's a good question. I think trying to draw around is a pretty good decision. This one feels pretty heavy for a draw. I just need to hope it comes in contact with that red enough. Well, it bumps the red out of the house, out of play, but now you've left it wide open to just come back and bump it yourself. Take 2. And it will just be the 2 for Albany if they do that, because the rock that they have on the far outside is being outcounted by yellows in the front. And even if you miss, as long as you miss in a normal way, this will be at least 1 for red. If you throw it hard enough and come into contact with that guard, you could potentially knock your red out of being shot rock, but they have not thrown this nearly hard enough for that. This is just a sort of heavier draw and try and hit that yellow. And they do just that. Good draw there. 2 to Albany in the third end, and that will make the score 4-3 in favor of Plainfield. Center line guard for the first. I think that is just off the center line, but is at least in the free guard zone. Try and curl this one around the guard. It's being swept by both from a weight perspective. So I think the line, it's going to curl very well, but it just doesn't have the weight, unfortunately. They might be able to get it in there if they really go. No, it'll just come up short. So now they're going to try and draw around these two guards, get it into the house. If they do so, it'll be pretty well protected on the center line. They're getting on it for purposes of weight. Needs to finish. Needs to come in a lot, and it is. He's going to try and finish it. That's left not very much. That is right there on the button. That is very well defended. Great shot. Going to try and draw to freeze on from the other side now. I don't know if I agree with that. If Plainfield has hammer here, they want to get that rock off the button. And this one will come up short and make contact with that yellow. Yellow slides into the house, into the 12. They're going to try and freeze onto the rock that just squirted into the house. If they freeze onto that, I think that'll be pretty good. Make the potential run back a pretty tough prospect. Just cleaning the stone. Now they're getting on it. Both of them. This one needs to finish just a little more. Weight's really good. It's a pretty good shot. It pushes the yellow over a little bit and hides it slightly more behind the guard up top. They're not even going to engage with that. They're going to try for the draw around the outside again. They're sweeping this one really hard. I don't think it has the line. I think it's going to nick off. Yes, it will nick off of that guard. Now Albany just wants to put more guards down that inside. So I think the outside is pretty clogged up. So if they throw more on that line, then that will make things more difficult for Plainfield here. Especially considering Albany is the one sitting one. They would love to have a steal to tie the game here in the fourth end. Out of these 8 ends. So that one's going to finish. Bumps back their red a little bit. Now they're counting 2. They want this to come onto the 4, or onto the button basically to out-count the red. I don't know if I see the line, unless they're trying to hit the run back. He's got plenty of weight for a run back, but not a lot, plenty of line. It's just going to come over. And at least they've rolled it behind their guards. So it's opened up that line for potential draws now. But if I'm Albany, I just close that line right back up. And that appears like it's what he's going to do. And if it rolls a little long and ends up behind these center line guards, that's okay too, he says. Making great progress in this game. We are going the fastest out of all the sheets. This one, they're sweeping it really hard. They're not careful not to hog it, and it's over. It's just barely over the hog line. They starting to sweat there for a minute, but that successfully gets on that line that they wanted it to be on. So that is a good shot if it was a little stressful.
What is he calling the
On the guard.
Yeah, just trying to peel here because you need to open up the house. There is no shot that Plainfield has to get to that rock on the button, so they're just trying to peel whatever they can. This is going to hit that front red, which is not a very useful peel, especially because the shooter has now stuck around, and they have pushed the red further into the house. Are they sitting 3 now? I think
It's very tight.
I think red is now sitting 3, so that
Guard rode into the.
that is an unfortunate miss. They're trying to get those yellows, maybe get a run back, if not the peel. But unfortunately, they have instead given Albany 3 stones counting. This one here looks like it's just going to hit this yellow in front. Now, it'll come across, and it's slowed down enough that it's going to come across, guard that draw. It's a good shot. Although I'm a little worried at how much it curled at the end. I think what they're really more worried about is them trying to go for that hit of those 2 yellows up top again. Now this is a fun shot. Yep. The angle just might be there for the shot he's called. He's calling for running back the yellow that's fully in the 8 or the 12 foot. Try and get it back in such a way that it removes that red from the button. This is a really tight angle though. It's got to curl. It's got to curl. It's going to hit the red otherwise. Now they got to sweep it. I said it had to curl, and it curled a whole lot. But at least it has cleared up a path that you would expect Albany to clog right back up. So Skip Rocks here in the 4th end out of 8. And they just want to guard that center back up. This has plenty of pace. They are calling off sweeping as it has plenty on it. They don't want to promote yellows. This has got a lot. Maybe if you nick off the red, that'll slow it down enough. Yes, that is a very good shot, in my opinion, because you can't hit either of those two deeper yellows. And if you hit the shallower yellow, that's just going to hit the red instead of one of the deeper yellows. So that, I think, is a great shot. We'll get some scores across the ice here. On sheet 1, they're starting the fourth end, and it is 2-1 in favor of Rutland over Schenectady. On sheet number 2, it is also 2-1 in favor of Columbus over Border. And this one is a very, very wide draw. This one, they're pretty much on the board. That one never came back, did it? Well, that rock is third, so now Albany just sitting 2. Over on sheet number 3, starting the third end, right? Recall that sheet 3 is on a bit of a delay due to previous poor ice conditions in the third end now. I've only hung up a 4 in favor of Equinox over Bucks County. We will figure out what that is when they hang up their second end. But now just one more rock for each team here on sheet number 4. The score is 4-3 in favor of Plainfield over Albany. Very wide approach to try and guard that draw line. And once again, pretty much going to be on the board. This one might hit the board. No, it's starting to curl back, but it's big enough. Try and push it to try and count third again. Just not going to get there, but I think that's a fine shot. That's not really hurting anything. So we've got the final rock of the fourth end coming up here shortly in these 8-end games. This sheet is about 13 minutes ahead on time, so we will get 8 ends, I reckon, especially if this is a very close game. Final rock is out of the hand. Pushing from the outside. Both sweepers on it now. I think this one's just going to crash that very first guard. Yes, it will. That will be either 2 or 3. I think it's just the 2 for Albany. That is now Albany back in the lead here. Okay, we're halfway home here in this E bracket matchup between Plainfield and Albany. On sheet number 3, they hung up a 1 for red, so that score is 4-1. Got these 2 rocks in the house right now, just a little bit back of the tee line. Neither of them is particularly defended. So I think Albany's lining up to take out the rock in the house. And that is the call. So come around from the outside and see if they can roll onto the center and be protected by the guards. This one is a little bit wide of the broom, very wide of the broom, and still traveling outwards. They're going to be pushing it before too long. Well, it will hit. Sweeping hard to get that yellow out. And that yellow does come out of the back and out of play, but unfortunately they don't get the roll in the correct direction.
The last shot made them sit forward. They were only sitting forward. No, you're good, you're good. It wasn't that they played a bad end, it was that the last shot. All little
So that yellow draw that was just thrown is not shot rock. And we'll see if Albany can improve upon their position. Try and draw this one out. Top 4 would be great here. They're sweeping it really hard. I don't think it's going to get there. I think this is just going to end up guarding their position, which is fine if you have if you don't have hammer. This one might sneak onto the... That might just be biting. The angle we're afforded is not directly over top the pin of the button, and it's certainly not over top of that rock, and so there is a bit of an angle, but Calgary Flames fans in the crowd will recall back in 2004, I believe it was, that just because there's white doesn't mean it's not touching. This draw, it's just going to slip by again. A little too heavy on these 2 draws. But that one, that might be shot rock now. It's very close. It is a little deep. And if I'm Plainfield, I'm wishing those 2 were a little less deep, but it's not a bad situation to be in. Albany will follow them in now. About halfway down sweeping. Both sweeps are on this. I don't know if this has the pace it needs. No, this one won't make it to the house. This will end up being a 3. A pretty useful 3. I mean, if they're guarding like that, if that's an intentional guard, then they must think they're still shot. Or they're fine to simply give up 1 and take hammer, tie game into the 6th end. Now they're trying and hit and roll off of this front left red stone. Now left from our angle, up from the angle of the broadcast. They're sweeping this one hard. They're trying to prevent the over curl. Now they're off of it. It needs to curl a little bit to get the roll. And no roll. They end up nosing it. But they do hit that red that was in the 4 out the back. And a new red in the 4-foot has replaced it. And I think that one might end up having yellow as shot rock now. It's pretty close. What do you think, Zach?
I think they have it now. It is close though. We probably won't even know until they measure at the end.
No. Well, based on this line, I guess are they trying to? Oh, this one's really wide actually. Trying to push it immediately. This one I don't think is going to be a very useful rock. Both are on it, trying to get anything they can out of it. It's finishing rather hard because we're on some pretty fresh pebble out that way. Well, that will end up guarding.
She's jammed her toe really good to the point that last one. Instead, she wants to put me on the
And thank you so much for joining us on your Saturday now afternoon. We are live from Schenectady, New York, with the Schenectady Open Bonspiel for 2025. This match is between Plainfield with the Yellow Stones and Albany with the Red Stones. I forgot what color that was. Coming around the outside, bit of a slip on the delivery, sweeping it hard to start. I think that slip lost a lot of pace, and I would tend to agree. This one, it might get it around. It doesn't have the pace. It might just bite in the house, but I don't know how useful that is. Well, that finished a lot harder than I expected. That's pretty much 8 foot. So that's a pretty useful rock, given they can get that red to the inside out of the house. Because if they do so, then presumably Plainfield would be counting 4 and then be in for another big end. You know, they gave up 1 in the first, but then scored 4 in the second. And then gave up back-to-back 2s to be down 1, but another big end here to start the second half of this match should be very helpful. Now we're into the skip rocks here in end number 5. Going to come wide around the right side as we see it from the warm room. This is going out to the other end of the ice shed. This one is pretty wide and pretty light by my view. Both sweeps are on it hard. This one going to end up guarding. I think they're worried about that run back of the yellow, which is what they're trying to guard. And I think that's a pretty useful guard. That kind of closes that angle up. So now the obvious shot to me is the promotion from the middle. You have that yellow pretty much on the center line, just to the top on your screen of the center line. throw something, like he's saying, about T-wine weight, hit that yellow, and hope to get it in the house, buried a little bit, but at the very least counting. And you have a decent amount of backing with the other Yellowstones if you do that. And this one, the line is looking really good. It's just a matter of weight now.
And that is a perfect shot. Just slides almost entirely onto the button. That is perfectly executed. And now, is that sitting 1 or sitting 2? That is an interesting question, but in either way, very lovely shot.
The way Albany's been playing, and I'm thinking they thought they had the shot, so we'll see how they do about this.
If I'm Albany, I don't mind giving up 1. I don't want to give up 2. You never want to give up more than 1. But there is always a point in a match when you have to start thinking damage control. We saw one in the last match where there were 4 stones in the house counting for the Schenectady team, and they just had to do whatever they could, Ardsley, to prevent Schenectady from scoring 4, and they brought it down to 2. So if I'm Albany in this situation, I think about playing damage control and simply preventing the team from Plainfield from scoring more than 2. If we think that this is 2, which I don't know. Because, in my opinion, the obvious shot for Plainfield in this situation is to just do that again. You have another wide open straight run back. So if I'm Albany, I guard that. But it seems like they might be going for a run back of their own. No, it does not have the pace. This is definitely a guard. Trying to keep it on the right line, sweeping hard from the inside. It has to something of a rub off of that yellow, and it will. Yes. That does kind of what they wanted. However, all that needs to be done now is you just go in there with your rock, and you might end up with 3. What you could do is if you go, as we see it, from the right to the left, from the bottom of your screen to the top of your screen, if you throw this along the center line with, hack weight, backline weight even, it curls over, it hits that red out, and then, as Zach said, you're scoring 5. So, opportunity for a very big end here again for Plainfield. It seems like they might be going for that shot. I don't think you need more than, hack weight. It doesn't need to curl very much. Well, they're going to talk it over. While they talk it over, we will bring you some scores from the other sheets. As a reminder, all 4 sheets have their own individual live streams on this YouTube page. So if a team is playing right now is on a different sheet, you can go find that live stream. On sheet number 1, the score is 4-1 in favor of Rutland over Schenectady. On sheet number 2, it is... Well, they haven't put up the 4th end, but after 3, it's 2-1 in favor of Columbus over Border. And on sheet 3, they're in the ending stages of the 4th end, 5-1 in favor of Equinox over Bucks County. But here we go. This is the last rock of this 5th end. Going to try and go for that lighter takeout. Try and take out that red for 5. Hard sweeping from the inside. Is it going to get the line? It's close. It's really close. It's going to come and hit off of that front yellow. However, that is still a score. Still a score for Plainfield. But how many is it going to score? They are going to look. They might measure this one. But I think it is 2.
They are going to go ahead and do a measurement. They have so much time. They have over 10 minutes of time in the bank. They can afford to measure and easily get the 8th end in. So they're going to measure this one. We will take a look by the screen that we have. You have the same one in the bottom right hand. It kind of looks like it's yellow, but I don't know.
Because there was a possibility of going from 2 to 5. I know, that's why. And then there was another one that I had. Why did you do that emotion? Because they but before we went over,
I always forget. And then I'm like,
All right.
and then I'm watching them.
Finalizing what the measurement will be of the red. And
Cheering or whatever. I want to see how it happens. What do we got?
all right, they're happy with the number now over to yellow. And that is yellow. So that is, as far as I understand it now, that is 2. They have hung up the 2. It is now 6-5 in favor of Plainfield. They respond with a 2 of their own, although that 4 in a row they did give up to Albany did hurt them. So 6-5 after 5 ends. 3 more to play. Still plenty of clock. They are not 13. Math. 8 minutes to the good on the clock. So they did put up the 4th end score over on sheet number 2. That is 3-2 in favor of Border over Columbus now. And this one coming in here. Guard onto the corner, TV line. Albany will attempt to draw behind it, take that cover. Yeah, they're trying to get this one to draw around. I don't think it has the weight. They've been trying to hold it out as long as they can. It has the weight. It doesn't have the angle. It just ticks. It will come to rest full 8, but wide open if they want to go for the hit and roll. Once again, Albany with the red stones, Plainfield with the yellow stones in this match.
It's contagious.
Yeah, I like the fact that they actually have the bar area behind it. The one that just finished, they had it all down the side. And a lot of individuals have watched.
So this one, let's see. It's a little light. It will come to rest. Little bit of a push. It'll push the red back 8, front 8 for the yellow. And that is, I think, yellow as shot. Coming up after this, our 9th draw at about approximately 2 Eastern, so in about 90 minutes or so, will be the A semifinals. And then additional C event draws. Now this one here coming in pretty hot. And trying to push it. But it is not going to do anything. So as it stands, sheets 1 and 2 are going to be the A semifinals, and sheet 3 and 4 will have C. It'll be a little difficult for us to call anything on sheets 1 or 2, so we'll keep you updated on what we'll have next. We might switch live streams to a different sheet if we call a different game. We'll, like I said, keep you updated on that. This one coming in, no sweeping yet. Now they get on it. And it is going to be a guard in the 3 range. Might actually get into the house. That's just going to bite the house. The winner of these games going on right now, as we see this takeout come in, trying to sweep to prevent curl. Takeout is hit, only hits the 1, doesn't get the double. The winner of this game will continue along in the C event. The loser of this game will play tonight at 9 in the E event.
So I went for the back.
Yes, we have that.
Oh, he did. He did, yeah. I mean, leaves it open. Now he's sitting. But.
Because it seemed like it was open enough.
Yeah.
We played that one, which was fun. We played another one called Side Effect.
Well, this one's coming up short again. Another draw, or a guard, excuse me. It's in the 2 range. And like I said, we believe that the yellow rock in the top of the 8-foot is shot rock as opposed to that red in the 8-foot. And that might change as Albany has called for the takeout of that shot rock. It's a rather narrow hole. So at the very least, you're going to peel a guard and get another shot at it. And it is going to hit that outside guard now. It'll come over and it'll also rub off of the center guard. And that makes that a pretty open shot coming back the other way. But you would expect Plainfield to try and put that back. But they do have a lot of options. It's a pretty wide open house, wide open front right now. Sweeping this one hard from the inside. Now both on it. It's about halfway down. That is going to end up being a guard. Gonna sit in the 3 zone there. Not the most useful as it's being covered a little bit by the front guard, but it's doing something. And that's what you want in a guard. You want it to be doing something. Because if you're throwing stones that have no purpose or have no use, that is a waste of time. And a waste of resources. So they're going to try for backline or board weight actually here. Board weight is the call, and they're going to have another crack at knocking this yellow shot rock out. If they do, then they are in business as they would be sitting presumably 4. I don't know if that front red is biting or not. It looks like it is, but the screen is showing a little bit of white, so I don't know. I think it is. Now they're on the rock, sweeping hard both sides. It's going to come up and just hit that rock just thrown, so That rock was thrown with purpose, and it did do something useful. It prevented that hit. So now, yellow is still shot. Red is still second. The question then becomes, who's third? I think that yellow that was just hit is third as opposed to this red. Now this one's coming down that same line. It's going to hit off of the red a little bit. Just rub it. No. Well, now there is no question as to who Shot Rock is. It is that Yellowstone, as it has been expertly ticked behind multiple pieces of cover. And Albany are going to try for a little sneaky shot here, because the primary piece of cover for that Shot Rock is a red stone. Howells reckons that if they are able to hit the red directly back, yellow's gone, and now you're sitting 2 red, if not maybe 3. No, you wouldn't be sitting 3. But let's see. It's got to curl around that guard. I don't think you can nose it. I don't think you physically can nose it with enough strength. And this one's got to stop curling. It's really close, and it's going to hit. It's just going to hit that guard in front. And now yellow's sitting 1, red sitting 2. Yellow's sitting 3, red 4, 5. No, sorry, red 4. And yeah, 4, 5. Yes, okay. And then that yellow in the back is 6. But now this is going to be what now? It feels pretty heavy. Well, no. It isn't. It felt very heavy, but it was not. That one is going to come down for a nice little guard. Doing a good job of it's preventing one direction of turn on the second attempt of that takeout. Now for a righty, you almost have to throw the out turn. Yeah, I think you would. I think throwing the out turn there, you have a little more room from the guard on the center line as opposed to if you threw the in turn. And then you would come into that guard that was just thrown. So. We're into skip rocks now in this 6th end. And it is going to be the out turn. And let's see. Over curling a tiny bit, but it escapes. Beautiful shot, perfectly done. That just perfectly split the gap there. Got the out turn to work. Hit it right down the middle. Now, if you're playing field, what do you do? You just gave up a really, really good shot. What is your strategy? They're going to try and draw around the right. The right as we see it, and the left as it comes out of the hack from the bottom of your screen to the top of your screen. From that angle on the bottom left hand of your screen. Lots of directions here. No sweeping. Now they're halfway down, sweeping hard, both. What is this going to do? This has got plenty of pace to get through the house. Just nicks. You're going to bounce? Any bouncing? No, not really. So that is still 1-2 for red for Albany. And I know everyone is so worried about the clock. I am pleased to report that Albany has 9 minutes to throw this stone. So they can really think about it if they want to. We'll see what they do. They have a couple options. This is the hammer. What they could do is they could go for the hit of those two up on the corner. Try and knock one in. You need full 8. You need full 8 to score 3 here. You could try and draw around the top. You got options. I think those are your two best options. And let's see. This has got pace. This has got plenty of pace, so it's going to have to be the hit. Trying to push. Really trying hard to push this one. Is it going to work? Is it going to slide too far through? No, it is not. That is a great shot. That is well played for Albany. 3 points there in that 6th end. And they retake the lead right back. Now, after 6 ends, the score is 8-6 in favor of Albany over Plainfield. Let's get some out-of-town scores for you here. Over on sheet number 1. People's heads are in the way. It appears to be 5-1 in favor of Rutland over Schenectady. That Schenectady team is Sean Hughes. Skipped on sheet number 2. Score is 5-2 in favor of Border over Columbus. And on sheet number 3, it is 6-1 late in the 5th. Equinox over Bucks County. And this first stone here, I think, is just going to overcurl the center line, but yeah, they're just going to find this one into the house. It'll end up full 8, about top 4 length. Pretty good. Both sheets 1 and 2 are about halfway through the 6th. So this is still the fastest sheet of the 4, although it is not sheet 3's fault that they are in the 5th end. It is the fault of the delays that occurred early this morning on sheet 3, but we should be hopefully on schedule by the end of the night. There are 3 more draws, I believe, today. 2 p.m. Something like 4:30. Oh, there's 4. And there's like a 6:30 as well, right?
I think so.
And then the E event will be at 9 o'clock. The loser of this match will go to that E event, and the winner of this match will continue in the C event. Yes, we have a 2 p.m., a 4:20, and then there is nothing until the 9.
No dinner break then.
Yeah, that will be the steak dinner, presumably. Oh, that is another good shot there, both on that corner. No protection, really. That guard is, I guess, maybe doing a little bit of work for the intern for a righty. And Plainfield is going to try and have this one draw around their guard. and maybe sit close to that red to the inside, but this rock is going to go right into that guard. Well, it might stick around. Actually, yeah. Oh, that's why it's going to stick around, is because it's very long. I had way too much weight on it. Unfortunately, I was swept through the house.
I'm not really allowed to do this. The flower down. I wish I could. I like people like a pretty.
We'll give you updates on if sheets 1 and 2 make time. There's 4 minutes remaining. Once again, all 4 sheets are being broadcast. We only have the commentary on this one sheet, but go to our YouTube page. If you're on this stream, then you know how to click to our YouTube page, presumably, and can find the other sheet if you have someone playing on there. So a guard played there for Albany, trying to guard their 2 stones that they've got in the 8-foot. There really isn't an angle to fit a 3rd stone through easily, so that is placed quite well.
Oh, I feel like that's a negative title. That's a negative title.
Yeah, Jen gave me the wrong broom for one half, and then she's like, okay, now that you've crawled long enough, you need to get my broom. Yeah. She's like, I'm going to call the right broom for you, so now.
And this rock just coming up short. Tried to get to the draw around, but just couldn't get the length on it. So now, if you're Albany, what's the move? They're going to try and find it around. No. They're going to guard. They thought about trying to come around, but I think the correct decision without the hammer here is to just prevent. As you've got 2 in full 8, and you're up 2. You only got 2 more ends to play. So either, you go up several going into the last end without hammer, or you play to give them 1, and then you have hammer with the lead in the last end. So I think it's smart to play conservatively here if you're Albany, and that is a good conservative decision to block the front more. And that one is biting, so, you're still sitting 3 by doing that. But I think now it is time to play the promotion. Plainfield's liking that guard to the lower side of your screen more than the one on the higher side of your screen, so their goal is to promote the rock on the higher side to move a little bit lower and into the house, sitting 1. Let's see. It's going to curl enough. Does it have the weight, though? It's actually just going to under-curl a little bit, and it slid too far across, and that's only sitting 3rd. At least that for them, that Albany rock on the top side is no longer counting, but I don't think that's really the result they were going for. But at least they have the ability to go nose and promote the other one if they want. Let's see. We're into the vice stones now. They're sweeping this hard, trying to get through. But it is just going to end up clogging that hole, which is honestly a fine result. Because again, they're sitting 2, trying to steal to go up 4 into the last end. Like, I'm sitting pretty if I'm Albany here. I think what they want to do is just continue to clog up those holes, not let Plainfield get into this match. Plainfield needs a score here, really. But it needs to be more than just a 1. Both sweepers are hard on this rock, and they've gotten off it now. Back on. And I think they might have the promotion good here. If it just curls a little more. That's didn't have the weight. It had the angle, but it didn't have the weight. The center is somewhat open. The second is calling for them to just close up that hole. They're talking about whether or not they want to close the hole or they want to get aggressive and promote that one on the top side on your screen. Well, I think instead of closing the hole, they're going to guard the promotion. They're going to guard that promotion on the right side by placing a rock right in front of it. All right, let's see if this can be well placed.
Oh yeah. So if you take the king spine rolls and cut them in half and put your barbecue pulled pork on, and then
This one is over curling, I fear. I fear this is really over curling. It's pretty short. This one, I think, unfortunately, is a big miss. It's over the hog line, but it's really not doing anything of value. And that's, well, I wouldn't say it's doing nothing of value because it does mean that they have to throw the in turn if they're going to promote. Are they going to draw this? I don't know if the hole is there for a draw. This one feels a little narrow. I think it is narrow. Both sweepers are on it hard to try and hold it on the line, but I don't know if that's going to do it. They got to hope for the promotion now. Very nearly got it there, but it just hit off of that yellow that was in the house. Although, that yellow is kind of open now. And really what it does open you to is being able to, hit just to the inside of center on that one yellow. That's, well, they're both biting the 8, but the one closer to the center line biting the 8. If you hit just more towards the center line of nose on that rock, then that could allow you to hit out one of those reds and have you be counting. I think that opens up a pretty big opportunity unless Albany can close this gap with a well-placed guard. So we'll see what we've got. We will bring you an update from the other sheets once this end is complete. And let's take a look at this shot here from Howells. Pretty well on the broom. Both sweepers are on it. Let's see. This needs to curl over the hog line. That curled a lot at the end. I said it needed a curl, and it sure did. Yeah, they are cleaning the ice over just on the outside of the hog line. I think that thing stopped and it cut. So just 3 rocks to throw in this 7th end. 2 for Plainfield, and then we just saw one of the last 2 for Albany. This one, I think, is unfortunately over curling right into that guard they just threw. And yes, hits it very hard. That guard will just not make it to the board. Well, that's not really relevant. Both of them are cleared out of the way. And now what it comes down to is, what do? Do they put this one right back? I would. I would put it right back, maybe a little bit further up the ice. Like, instead of a 1 guard, maybe it'd be a 2 or a 3. But I would just put this right back. Because you're sitting 2. Sitting 2 is borderline. Like, if they score 2 here, that's borderline shake territory. Although Plainfield did score 4 and then early on in this game, so they know they can do it. This one is further along than the last one, presuming it doesn't pick again. Yes, this will come right perfectly. Just maybe a millimeter or 2 of overcurl, but that's pretty much perfect. There's not a whole lot Plainfield can do in this scenario. The only thing I see is, and they're pointing it out now, that run back of the red into the yellow. That's kind of the only thing they have available to them. Because it's a relatively straight run back. You just have to hit it nose. And I think they're kind of coming to that realization themselves, is that there's not really another shot to hit. So this is a rather pivotal moment in this game, in this 7th end, because you're looking at either going down 4 or more into the last end, or still not having hammer, but only being down 1 the last end. Let's see how this one goes. Sweeping on the inside. They think it's narrow. Let's see. Now both sweeping hard. Where is this one going to end up? He just has to nose it. It's curling. It might be perfect. It's just going to overcurl. Just going to overcurl. That is 2 for Albany. They take a 4-point lead going into the 8th and final end. Just a little bit of a missed opportunity. That was not an easy shot by any means. So we'll give you some updates now. Sheet 2, they shook. The final score was 8-2 in favor of red, which is Border over Columbus. And on sheet number 1, it is 5-3 in the 7th end. And that is in favor of Rutland over Schenectady. Sheet 3 is 6-2. And that sheet is slightly behind due to the delays. That 6-2 is Equinox over Bucks County. First rock through. They are playing the game of you can't score if you don't have rocks in the house. So they will throw their first 2 rocks through, or if this rock ends up in the house, they will take it out. So we'll see where this one ends up. They want it to be rather over to the corner, but this one is kind of hanging up in the center, and it needs to slow down. I think this might be swept through. Yeah, I don't think this one is sticking around, unfortunately. Yep. So now the call for Albany will just be throw it through again. And that is exactly what happens. So a 4-point lead for Albany means that once we are 4 stones through on each, every stone Plainfield throws has to be in the house, or else the game will be over. It will be mathematically eliminated if their 5th rock is not in the house, or is not in play at least, and all of their other rocks are not in play either. So the game for Albany is simply don't miss your takeouts. Do not miss your takeouts. That one just clears the hog line.
He's like, it was a physics thing, purely physics. You know, volume, mass. I'm like, it's fine. I'm like, I'm not.
And they're going to play into the house here,
I was just curious. Well,
which I find a little interesting. I don't know if I agree with that, but
it is.
all right. This one, I think, will probably end up through the house. Well, it might stick around. If it were being swept, it might have gone out. No, it wouldn't have. So that one's in the house. That one is biting 8 back corner. This will be the 3rd rock for Plainfield now. Again, their doomsday clock is they need to have 4 rocks in play.
Watched your team do that before. I've been on your team and we've done that before.
So now that they have that guard up in the top corner, presumably they're going to try and throw to the outside of the house and use that as protection to prevent any potential takeouts. But it's almost too high to be useful. And it's not going to be useful if they leave it out like this. So this one will just, I think, be ripe for the taking. Yes, wide open, completely visible from the hack on the far side. Oh, I don't feel great about the odds of this one staying in. This one sweeping hard from the inside. A little worried about it over curling, but I think it's going to hit pretty square. Yeah, very little roll in the end on that rock. So now this is the 4th rock to be thrown by Plainfield. One of their rocks is in play, although I would argue that it's not really in play. I don't know how you can get that one into the house. They're going to throw the takeout and hope to get a little bit of roll to the outside. And unfortunately, I don't think this is going to hit. I think it needs to curl a lot at the end. Well, that'll make contact. And it'll stick around too. This ice sure has been finishing today, so that's a stroke of luck there. And they are going to take this rock out, and then the situation becomes dire. Every single one of their rocks has to end up in the house after this if this rock is taken out. It's over curling a little bit, but it'll still make contact, and I think they will both split out productively. Indeed, they do. Every rock now for Plainfield must end up in the house. That is the equation. So now you just need to use whatever protection you have and hope for the best.
Yes, because it used to
They have to get on this rock. It's not got the speed right now. You've got to get it there. They have to get on this rock, or else this game will be over. And that just barely does not have it. Very close.
So they cover both ends with doing that, but yeah, I thought the same thing.
And they're just going to throw this one out.
No, they have both of them. But I was sitting at the one and didn't realize that they had different hours.
Mathematically, they are not eliminated because that rock could end up in the house by some means. So Albany are simply going to throw this one out of play to make sure that doesn't happen.
Across, she's like, how does that happen? I'm like, because this was East Avenue, that was Broadview, and when Broadview bought Avenue, it became a Broadview too. He's like, why not destroy it? I'm like, same reason why two stores exist on the same corner. You know, if you've got the business for both, you just,
We're here in the latter stages of the 8th inning with Albany up by 4. The 8th and final end. Clock is not a concern. There's no worry about the clock. They need to get on this rock. This rock must be in the house, and they do not have the pace. I think they might have left this one short again.
but how many times do you give you directions and you tell somebody to take a left or right at a you know?
And does it bump that one into the house? I think just barely it bumps it into the house. Although that will do it. They are shaking now. So there's a handshake. So Albany will take this one by a score of 10-6 after a concession in the 8th end. That will do it. Other scores, we've still got games going on sheets 1 and sheets 3. Sheet 2, there was a shake in favor of Border over Columbus. On sheet number 1, that score late in the 7th is 5-3 in favor of Rutland over Schenectady. And on sheet number 3, the score is 6-2 in favor of Equinox over Bucks County. So that'll do it for us. The next draw is, I believe, at 2:20. Sorry, 2 p.m. Is it 2 p.m.? And 4:20 after that. But 2 p.m. is the next draw time, so we will see you then. We might be on a different sheet, so if you want to listen to us again, then find which sheet we're on. All 4 sheets are being broadcasted, but that'll do it for us. Thank you so much.